What is up, everybody, and welcome to this episode on the Mentors Collective. I have a special guest for you today. As I usually do, we're going to be bringing you some really powerful value on trading. I have one of the most successful traders that I know. I've been connected with this guy for a long time. He knows what he's talking about. He's got people that he trains on trading in multiple different countries. He's got his own platform, his own school, and he's got a laundry list of success that he's had in the trading world. Calls that he's made that are very impressive that I'm going to let him share in a minute. So we're really just going to dive in on his trading strategies so that you can learn to be a successful trader as well. If that's something that you're interested in doing, we're going to talk about kind of how to get started, and then we're going to go into some really specific strategies on what he does. Without further ado, I want to introduce my good friend, Thomas Yin. He is the founder of OnlineGuruTrader.com, which is his online trading school. And for anyone who loves what they hear on this episode, he has a free 2-hour webinar training that I'm going to link in the show notes. Without further ado, thank you so much for joining me on this episode, Thomas. I am pumped to have you here.
Thank you, Jay. I'm very honored and privileged to be here as well.
And again, I know you've done so much in the trading world and you've had so much success. So for people who are listening, who's like, why should I trust this guy? What has he done? How has he proven that he knows what he's talking about? There's a lot of people on there claiming to be gurus. I know you're an actual guru, but what have you done to establish yourself and prove that you have a method that works and that you're ahead of the curve in this stuff?
Okay, when I started to teach in 2013, maybe we go way back. I started like 24 years ago at the age of 20, right? And I struggled for 13 years in trading because investing in trading really fascinated me, and I was like a fanatic for trading and investing. For me, back then, I'm so passionate in the sense that I was very, very amazed that we can just use money to grow money just at the comfort of our home without depending on sales or working out to get leads, going out there to get clients. So it fascinated me. So I struggled for 13 years, losing most of the years of the 13 years initially. And I succeeded after I devised my own methodology in 2010. But I started teaching in 2013, okay? And when I started teaching in 2013, I was having the same thinking like you. How do I prove to people that I'm the real deal, right? And I know that not many people in 2013 could trade a 6-figure account. And they may have the thinking, oh, maybe you have a big account, you have a big capital, that's why you could succeed easier, right? So what I really did in 2013, or I took a trading challenge by myself. I thought of it by myself. Why not I do a trading challenge of maybe 2-3 years, where I start with a $10,000 account, not a big account anyway, 10,000, and I trade that account using stocks and forex because my methodology works in all different markets. We'll come to that why my methodology works in different markets. But basically, with that $10,000 account, live account, I traded it for the first year, 2013, and it brought in 63% return. 2014, 2015, for 3 consecutive years, it was averagely, if you average it out, it's 50% return per year. So total that 3 years was 150%. So every year I reset it back to 10,000. So every year it was profitable. So I just took out the few $1,000s out. And I stopped at 3 years mainly because I felt that 3 years is more than enough to prove that my method works. And because 10,000 really doesn't sustain lifestyle. It's just a trading challenge I took to prove to the people out there that it really works. So I stopped at 2013 and focused back in my own personal trading, and focus more on my students as well, because in 2015 I was traveling around to teach students. Another way to prove that it really works is that can look at the results of my students. I have trained financial analysis, and this financial analysis has actually turned into full-time fund manager. It's up to the people to follow me through Facebook or things like that, and really see that I do live analysis through my Facebook. And so far this year, it has been pretty awesome. If this, because I mean, Facebook Live is a live analysis. I can't edit it or things like that. So when I make that trade call, either works or either don't work, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I can't wait to jump into your exact strategy later, or as close as we can possibly get on this episode. And I know everybody listening is really excited to hear it, so we're going to save it for the end, make them wait for it. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about the trading that you do and that you have dabbled with. I know there's multiple different things that you can trade. You know, there's day trading, there's penny stocks, there's Forex, there's crypto. Have you kind of tried multiple different avenues and found that one works better for you, or do you trade multiple? Talk to me for a minute about that.
Maybe I address this in another answer and come back to this question. Because number one, a lot of people would think that why would someone is focused on Forex, some is focused on stocks, some is focused on gold only, you know. When I devised my method, I told myself my method is based on the fear and greed element of the markets. And because all markets have fear and greed, because basically people buy, markets go up because of greed, markets go down because of fear, right? And all of us know that even if I buy, it's because of greed that I'm going to profit from it. I'm going to get more of my money if I get in. Most of the time, people are doing this to get into the markets to buy it out. So with that thinking in mind, and with my method devised based on assessing the emotion level of fear and greed, and I decided to test it out on stocks, Forex, and futures. Okay, futures mainly S&P, E-mini, gold, futures, and things like that. But did I try it on crypto? Only on Bitcoin. Okay, initially when Bitcoin futures was out, right? But did my students use it in crypto actively? I know of two. Okay, I know of two. It could be more because not every student will come back to me and say, hey, I use this on but from what my knowledge is, at least two of them actually use it on crypto and currently still doing very, very well. In fact, one of them is almost to the level of telling me that he wants to go out there and teach how to trade crypto using my method. The thing is, people got to understand that basically, let's take a stock for example. Before earnings report is out, let's say tomorrow earnings report is out, you know, my method will normally trigger, okay, 50% of the time, not all the time, but 50% of the time my method will trigger to buy or maybe to sell, okay. Why is that so? Is because, let me ask you, before the earnings report is out tomorrow, do you think the director will know about it? The CEO will know about it?
Yeah, of
About the
course.
earnings report? The details of the earnings report?
Yes.
Yes, do you think that, I'm not implying anything, okay, because, but do you think that more people than the CEO will know about the earnings report, the person who wrote it and things like that? Definitely they would know about it, like the secretary and things like that. They know the details, right?
Yes.
Yes. So would it be possible? Would it be possible that someone bought the market before the earnings report? Answer is yes also.
Yeah. So
Correct?
I guess so. The people on the inside that know the details of the earnings report.
Yes, yes. I'm not implying anything anyway.
Of
I'm not
course.
implying anything. I'm just saying that if the charts show, if people are buying before the news, okay, the charts will show. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay. If the technical analysis, the charts show that there is indication of bullish patterns, movements, okay, we will be able to see it and we will trade according to it. But at the same time, if we are wrong, because sometimes we will be wrong, we will protect ourselves with a stop loss, a limited stop loss, so that when the news comes, it jumps and we make the profit. Like just 1 month ago, I did a trade on NTNX. Okay, it was like $21 back then, you know. Then that week on, I think Thursday or Friday, NTNX announced earnings report. I traded it on Monday, if I'm not wrong. Okay. And it jumped $7 from $21 to $28. Stock traders will know that a $21 stock jumping to $28 in just one day is pretty huge after earnings, right? And we, me and my community, not only me, I profit from it, but my community of members also profit. So
Interesting.
this is one example of we looking at fear and greed and actually trading before the news, because people got to understand that Most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, you make the big money way before the news is out. Meaning you get in before the news is out. And this is just one example that we did. Okay, but of course, we don't know about the news. It's just pure technical, because what we believe in our mind community and me, myself, is that if greed is there way before the news, okay, the people buying, whether they have private, secret information that others don't have, or whether they saw it in them that it's good to buy. But basically, greed is overwhelming fear. When greed is overwhelming fear, the charts will show that will bullish. It will have show bullish symptoms, so-called signals. Okay, and we will take that and we'll trade accordingly. And so to answer your question, whether it works on crypto, forex, stocks, gold, my question is it human trading it? Okay. And apart from human trading, do they have emotions? I would say the answer is a definite yes, because all humans have emotions. Even me, myself. Okay. I just don't try to let it affect me in terms of my trading.
Awesome. So I think we kind of nipped around the bud and hitting the surface of the strategy here too, which is getting me very interested and excited. So I'm going to take my best crack at your kind of secret formula to success, and let me know at the end kind of how close I am. And if I'm right, this is awesome, and I want in, sign me up, whatever, software system you've got going. But you play on greed. You play on people's greed who are on the insides of these companies, who, like, obviously when the earnings reports are put together, not just the CEO, it's probably a pretty big, small group of people that are on the inside that know, what is about to come out, what is about to become news. So their greed is going to overtake, and they're going to insider trade, and they are going to either directly or indirectly start buying stock if the earnings report is going to look good. Now, I don't know if you have a software that triggers it, or if I don't even know when earnings reports come out, but you wait for, I think it's like a candlelight. Is that what you call it? The candlestick start to go up, where you see that the stocks start to trend up. People are buying, and you take that as a note. Okay, they had an awesome earnings report. This news is going to hit. This is going to be a really hot stock, but like, now's the time. You want to get in before it becomes news, before the mainstream traders start jumping on. So you really get that stock that you said you bought at like 20 and now it's 28. You get in when it's like 20 to 22. And then, 3 days later, once the news comes out, now it's 27, 28, and you've already missed your chance. Am I warm here? Is that kind of it?
Very, very close. I'm very surprised since you don't really trade or invest, but very close. Just to say that on a side note, whether it's insider or not, I believe CEOs, they have to, in US, they have to announce that they bought shares to the public. But problem is the news, when it gets to the public, is too late.
Yes.
But once they buy, the technical charts is real time, is shown immediately on that day they buy. Imagine if I'm the CEO, I buy today, and another trader like you in Singapore, for example, will be able to see exactly real time that there will be a bullish action, price action, and you actually trade it. And but this news that I bought as a CEO, maybe 1 week later will be announced, or maybe even 3 days later. So not necessarily insider trading, but I would say that if there is bullish price action, which means there's more greed than fear, my method has a more than 50% chance of tracking it and triggering my method to get into trade, right? So I just said one of the so-called techniques that we use is price action, right? So price action for us is a major part in our method, whereby a bullish price action shows that there is very strong bullish momentum, right, for it to go up. Of course, the other way around, we have bearish price action, whereby we will short the market, where it's going to go down. Like, for example, 20th of February this year. Okay, 20th of February this year, I still have that text. I text my community of more than 100 over members, okay, private high-level members. So I text them on the 20th of February. I was thinking that the market was very topish and it fulfilled our criteria as well for a very short-term trade on to short the market, right? Especially the Dow Jones futures, S&P E-mini and things like that. And surprisingly, I didn't know it was going to be a crash, right? Surprisingly, 20th of February was one of the early days, first 3 to 5 days of the market going down for 1-2 months. What you say is pretty close. I just elaborate on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, very good. And in terms of the how it actually operates, the day to day, is it a software that you get a text that's like buy this right now, or are you sitting there with your 8 screens watching all of the movement go on? Is there specific businesses that you follow or companies that you follow that you're always having a close eye on? When you get a trigger, what does that look like, and what is your immediate action? Take me through the process.
okay, you're trying to find out a typical day for me, right?
Yes.
Uh,
A
I
good day, a trigger day.
Yeah, okay. So basically what I do is I actually wake up at 10. So in Singapore time, so now it's like 8 plus is pretty early for me because
Mhm.
I normally sleep at 3 or 4 a.m., right? Singapore time. That is the US stock market closing time. Yeah. So what really happens is in a typical day, I only have 2 screens. Max is 4 if I want to connect it, but normally I just use 2 to 3 screen. The 4th screen I actually don't quite use it. So I'm pretty old school, right? What I do is in terms of stocks, I have actually scan and get a list and filter it down to a watch list. And whenever I want to trade, I just look at the watch list, which is pretty okay with a handful of stocks, like maybe 30 to 50 stocks, right? So not a lot. I just go through them, whether they fulfill my triggers, criteria, steps. If they fulfill, I'll formulate a trading plan. And once I formulate a trading plan, I wait for the market to open and I actually trade according to my trading plan. And the main purpose of that trading plan is to make sure things are in place in the sense that I limit my losses to small losses, and if I lose, if I'm wrong, and also maximize my profits if I'm right. Okay, that is on the money management side. And in terms of forex, normally 10 plus. When after I wake up, I'll look at it on just a dozen pairs, forex pairs, and if there's a trigger, immediately I formulate a trading plan and I trade it. Okay, log into my account and trade it and let my members know, right? After that, it's pretty my own time. I think do my own stuff, my morning rituals and things like that. And eventually I'll comes to European market opening, which is in Singapore time, roughly 2 to 4 o'clock. I'll spend some time there, roughly half an hour to an hour, just to see any triggers. After that is Asia market close around 5:30. I'll spend another 10 minutes, 20 minutes. After that is all the way until market US stock market open, which is 9:30. Okay. So basically a day in my trading, including the morning, afternoon, and maybe at night, it will be roughly like maybe 3 to 5 hours. Not too much, but good enough. And then some people say, why do you stay up till 3? So 9:30 after market open, if there's a trade, I trade. Other than that, I'm just doing my normal, more of the business side of training people to trade. I will have go through my stuff. What are the things I want to bring up to my students to take note of, to get them prepared, do my slides, things like that. And at the same time, at the background will be all the charts of the stocks that I'm monitoring. So on and off, I will take a look at them. Yeah. So that's basically a typical day for me as a trader. I'm
Okay.
not sure if it suits someone because for me, looking at charts, I'm really okay with it, right? And for a lot of people, from my feedback, because I've trained like thousands of students in 5 countries: Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and even Singapore, right? So after teaching all these people, I found that actually not everyone is like me. Okay, maybe more than 50% of them don't like to look at charts, right? But there is a good 40 to almost 50% of them like to look at charts, which is almost same as me, which is okay. I was pretty surprised after I was doing this, and people are telling me, "Hey, Thomas, I really don't like to look at charts. I hate to look at charts."
That's part of the job, right?
Yeah, yes. For me, I'm passionate. So for me to look at charts 3-5 hours is totally fine, right? Even 8 hours is totally fine. But for a lot of people, it may not be. They may not. Number one, they may not be used to it. Number two is they may not like visual representation of the markets, right? For them, okay. So it's up to individual, I would say, for this.
Do you think there's any way to be a successful trader without looking at charts?
I really don't think so, because you look at funds, they also look at technical charts,
Yeah.
and people who really understand the markets should at least use charts. I'm 99% technical, okay, 1% macro fundamentals. I look at general view of the markets and say, maybe we should start to look for something, right? Just like the recent COVID, like I mentioned just now, COVID actually started in December, but the market didn't go down. But after it happened, I used that 1% macro fundamental. I call it macro fundamental in the sense that I think this will not be an immediate effect, but maybe a month or two later. So why not I put inside my calendars to remind me that 2 months or 1 month later, I want to look for a trigger to short the market. Right?
Yes.
But when I look for it, I will be looking for it through the technical analysis for exact trigger, bearish trigger, whereby I can see a lot of people are actually selling, showing me a bearish movement. So I want the market to tell me that, hey, people are starting to be bearish. And there's a trigger to show that they actually sold it down. I want to join them because more people back behind me is going to join me after that.
Yep.
I'm still one of the early takers, right? So that's how I believe that's how the market works. I'm not saying that fundamental don't work. Fundamental do work. Problem is, in my earlier years, I was only using fundamental. Okay, and why I now I'm 180 degrees change is because right now I believe that fundamentals do work. It's just that you don't know when it work.
Yeah.
You understand? If you understand this phrase very clearly, it means that the news will be out, but when the news is out, it may not move.
Yeah.
But eventually it moves to prove that the news is right.
Yep.
Okay?
I completely understand it. It's all about identifying the trends before it becomes mainstream, and then having it's probably repetition and the confidence to believe in yourself and make that move unemotionally, because you know that what's going to follow, at least most of the time.
That's true. That's true. Very true. Because you got to understand that a lot of people feel, hey, technical very fast. I look at one chart, it's like 1 minute, I can make my decision whether I want to trade or not to trade. Okay, for my students, maybe 5 minutes, right? So people will say, is that it? Just that 1 to 5 minutes, and I make a decision to trade my few hundred or few $1,000s, put my few thousand or few $100s at risk, right? And it could be like maybe an hour later, and I'll lose that $500 or $1,000 or $2,000. I investigate more by looking at some news, some fundamentals to make myself more comfortable. For me, it's a definite no, because I have realized that it actually affects my decision making. It actually affects my results. It has been tested also, back tested to prove the statistics to myself. Right? So, and because of that, I have that belief. And people out there got to understand that it's not just belief. Because having belief, belief is something that you can't see. Right? In trading terms, we need to go beyond belief and have a conviction. Right? A conviction that your method do work, even though you are losing right now. It could be like the market is not in tune with your method. That's number one. Number two is that your method at that point right now is you are seeing it wrongly. Because number one, market is not in tune with your method, you may suffer losses, right? But what if you are not in the right frame of mind, right mood of mind, and you are seeing your method wrongly? That could be another reason. The person who is using her method,
Yeah.
right? So I give you an example. When I my emotion is not stable in the sense that I got in an argument, I was angry, I make bad decisions. I say things that days later, I feel that it was stupid and I made the wrong decision to say some certain words that I regretted, right? At the at the heat of the moment when I was angry,
Yes.
right? So most people encounter that. Why is because when we are angry, cortisol level actually increase in our body. It's chemical, it's biology, right? Cortisol level increases, and because of that, it lowers our IQ level, okay, to almost half. And because of that, we make bad decisions. What I'm trying to say is when it comes to trading, when our state of mind and our emotions is not stable, we make bad decisions. And it's not about the method. It's because we're seeing the method in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So two reasons. We may be suffering losses in the sense that market was not in tune with our method, or it was in tune with our method, but we are looking at it wrongly because our state of mind is wrong, right?
It's
And
funny.
using our method, yeah.
A lot of the traders that I talk to say the same thing. If you can master the emotional part and you don't make emotional trading decisions, that's when you start to have your success. And you've done this for a long time so that you probably have the confidence that when you see a trend, you see a good call, you're able to pull the trigger and make that call unemotionally. So that's awesome. And I think your strategy makes a lot of sense to me, which usually is the things that can be broken down into simple, minimalistic things that you can perfect are usually the things that work.
But one thing I want people out there to know that you don't have to touch on many markets like what I do, because you should actually focus on one first, and once you master it, then you go to another, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. I have no business trading the Asian market. I don't know anything about it. I probably don't understand a lot of the stuff I'm going to see there. So awesome. Okay, this is one thing that I ask all of my trading friends at the end of the episodes. What are your predictions for economic movement, good investing decisions? And let's focus on the US market. Anything that you think people should be on the lookout for that you think could be happening in the next couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of days?
This week is up week for the US stock market in general, S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow Jones, right? Beyond that, it will be pretty shaky all the way to election, okay, 3rd of November, right? But having said that, there is a move up from now, even though it's shaky. After the election, there may be clear skies. Okay, let me say it this way: there may be clear skies, and it will maybe very more clear for us to go long. Okay, go to buy the market up. Okay, so but here's the thing. I'll go beyond that. Okay, here's the thing. Because it's recorded, right? 2021 expect a big move down. Okay, it could be the later part of 2021. Okay, second half, in fact, right? So that's how I see it. But of course, things develop within this long time frame, and we will adapt according to it. But if nothing much happens, based on the charts, this is what I see. This week, short term wise, is an up week. Things are looking pretty solid for this week. Of course, apart from that, these 2 months all the way to November will be a bit shaky.
Yes.
A bit shaky. Yeah,
So,
especially nearing, more nearer to the election. There may be some selling pressure. Yeah.
absolutely. And my junior, rookie, beginner investing brain is saying stash your money. And if Biden wins the election, the economy is going to come crashing down very quickly just because everyone's going to panic about the economy and there's going to be a big sell off. So I'm like, I've got all my money in cash. I'm waiting to invest. I don't know if
Okay.
this is,
For that, let me say this. My take. This is my take.
yes.
Whether Biden or Trump wins, market will still eventually go up. It's just a knee-jerk, what you say just now is just a knee-jerk effect, which could last not very long, like maybe 2 weeks or things like that. But eventually market, I feel, regardless of who wins, is going to resume up. Because why I say this is because, number one, unless Biden steps in and change all this, which I'm going to say, right? Interest rates is low, money is being printed out, liquidity is being flooding the market. So if this type of environment don't change even after the election, then the market should be clear skies for us to invest and buy the market up. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm glad to hear. Hopefully my method's going to work. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode, Thomas. And for anyone who's interested in learning from Thomas on investing strategies, I'm going to put all of Thomas's links in the description and caption of this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, take a look at this guy. He looks awesome. How old are you, Thomas? I remember the first time that I heard, you got no wrinkles, man. What's your secret?
I'm already coming 45.
Amazing.
Secret is stay happy, right? Stay enjoyable. Don't let things affect you, because environment right now we are in is a lot of negative stuff. Will get us emotionally unstable, right? But what I want to say is, what elaborate a little bit before we end, that a lot of people say, if you can master your emotions, you can succeed. I totally agree. But a lot of people do not go one more step to say, how do you actually do that, right? So a very quick one, okay? I do that by maintaining a ritual in the morning, whereby I go through a priming exercise. But it doesn't matter whether what you do, whether it's meditation, and things like that. But main thing is to be grateful with whatever you have. Whichever you have a lot or very little, there's something to be grateful for. And once you're grateful for something, you will not have negative emotions. Okay, because you guys watching this can go and try that. Okay, can you be grateful and angry at the same time? You can't. You either be angry or you either be grateful, right? So maintaining a sense of gratefulness, I would say, in my life has enabled me to look at the markets well, make good decisions, and also like what you say, stay young, which is, I think, very important for health.
The perfect message to leave us with. It's actually a famous Tony Robbins quote. The opposite of anger is gratitude. You cannot be gracious and angry at the same time. And it's probably especially true for trading. Starting your day off with meditation and gratitude, just to level out your emotion and be in control for those 3 to 5 hours that you need to be in a prime emotional state. That is gold, Thomas. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And Online Guru Trader, for anybody interested in signing up with Thomas and connecting with him on his social media accounts, what is the best way to get in touch with you for anybody who wants to?
I actually, on my website, onlinegurutrader.com, you can actually find a few free stuff. I have a free book. You just pay for shipping. I will ship my book to you. It's being sold in Amazon as well. I bought it for you and I'm going to send it to you if you order it, right? So, but apart from that, I also do occasionally, like maybe 3 to 4 months in a year, I do free 2 to 3 hours training, right? Depending on my schedule, because I'm a full-time trader, I can't do this all the time. So 3 to 4 months in a year, on my website, you can see something like I do a 2-hour free training on my strategy, my method. So you will be diving down on the specific of how I actually look at the markets and how I apply them, right? So that's about it. Apart from that, then it's all my paid courses and things like that, going into my private community where I guide you and share with you whatever I trade. So whenever I trade, I'll share with you through WhatsApp, text you immediately the moment I trade, what I traded. So what you want to do with the information is totally up to you. Yeah.
I want into that private community. All right, Thomas, thank you so much for joining me. This is an awesome episode. And for anybody who's watching right now, thank you for checking out this episode of the Mentors Collective. Whether you're going to be a trader, an entrepreneur, you want to trade Forex or crypto, I'm glad you are tuning into this show and learning from us. I try and do our very best to deliver value. So if you don't mind taking a minute to click the subscribe button, drop us a review. And if you're watching or listening on your iPhone right now or your Android, grab a screenshot, share this on Instagram, and go ahead and tag me and tag the Mentors Collective. And I will get you a free piece of apparel. That's a promise. Thomas, thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, my brother.
Thank you. Thanks.